That's a little Sam Cooke there with Touch the Hem of His Garment. We also heard from Boise artist With Child, and his track Come Near Me. You can catch him at the Treefort Music Festival. In there also was Calexico with a song called Service and Repair, and Harold Alexander with a funky little number called Tightrope.
Funky little number.
It's off the Flying Funk compilation, 2003 on Bluebird Records. And as usual, I have my great co-host Gabriel Dunn in here, and we're also joined in studio by Mr. Thax Douglas. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself, if you would.
Well, I'm going to take these off because I feel like that chick who's with Howard Stern.
He's taking stuff off already.
Yeah.
That's pretty hot.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I'm a poet. I write poems for bands and introduce them.
Cool.
And the poems are inspired by the band's music.
How did you get started in that?
I did it as a novelty at first.
Okay.
And I was so delighted with the results that I kept doing it. And just, asked bands if I could do it. Expecting most bands would say no, but most bands actually said yes, so.
Musicians, a lot of them are just up for whatever.
And then some of them are so smug.
Some.
Well, actually, Doug, your local legend, Doug March, was one of the nicest of all, because when I started doing national acts, I snuck into the backstage of Metro in Chicago and said, I wrote a poem for you guys. And he just said right away, do you want to read it before we go on?
Cool.
He's a sweet man.
Yeah, totally.
Very nice.
Yeah, so I've just been doing it for the last, 12 years or so.
How does something like that pay?
Zilch.
Yeah. Good art never pays.
Very rarely, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just for love of the music you got started writing poems for the band.
Yeah, too. I mean, I do get into the shows for free, and some people would consider hanging out with the bands probably something they would pay for.
Oh, for sure.
So look at it that way.
Hanging out's pretty cool.
I like a free hot dog once in a while, but hanging out's just fine.
Sometimes there's food backstage.
Sometimes.
So about the last 12 years or so, you've been opening for a number of bands.
The list was huge.
I looked down the list. It's really quite something.
That Wikipedia page. All it is those bands.
Just each. I mean, that's definitely not all of them.
No, there was about 1,000, a little over 1,000 bands.
Wow.
Do you have the master list?
Yeah, it's on my MySpace page.
Wow. Open for over 1,000 bands. I don't know many people that can say that.
Well, those are all the famous ones that they threw on there. I have no idea who did that page.
Well, that's probably
He has no control.
Right, yeah.
Well, is Tony Bennett still on there?
Let me check. Scrolling. Stand by, it's a long list. It is. Yeah, he's on there.
I wrote whoever you write a couple of times saying no. I wish it were true, but I never entertained it.
No?
AC/DC was on there a long time, too, and that finally got taken off.
Yeah, someone's lawyer probably.
Some very over-scrupulous manager saw it, I guess.
What's been one of your favorite experiences, like reading before a band?
Oh, there are many, many, many ones. For many years, I told people Graham Coxon was my favorite, but that's been 7 years ago now, so they've been, it's special every time, and it's special in a different way.
Do you ever get ladies lusting after you? Like, oh my God, the poet! Get him!
No, it doesn't increase my sex appeal.
You're just already this sexy.
Yeah,
nothing else needs to be added.
I'll just agree with you quietly.
Oh, you're a lot like my wife.
Would you read a little something for us?
Yeah. Like a poem?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Something like that.
Okay. Actually, the first poem I'm going to read for you is a band you guys probably never heard of, but I really like them.
Cool.
I live 75 miles from Dubuque, Iowa.
Okay.
That's a really cool town I've come to see. I really like it there a lot. I went there for New Year's Eve. There's a band called The Glimmer Blinkin' with 2 Ks that I read for on New Year's Eve, and this is the poem I did. The Glimmer Blinkin'. Beach squeezed out like toothpaste, tracing the lake with lipstick, sand eager to scrub the shore clean when the typhoon, whether an independent force or a brush in the grip of a higher power, condescends to descend. The patient waiting a song hanging over the whole legendary scene long enough for birds to hop along it, picking up crumbs that squeak in that second as beaks are raised just before the swallowing.
Very nice.
That's a
Say the name of that band for me one more time.
The Glimmer Blinken.
Blinken.
Sort of
Glimmer
like-
blinken.
Yeah. B-L-I-N-K-K-E-N.
Double K-E-N.
Yeah.
How did you find your way to Boise, Idaho, if you live near Dubuque?
This is my second time in Boise.
Okay.
And the first time was in the 90s, you could like take your friend's frequent flyer special trip or whatever and go. And I picked Boise because I figure I'd never see Boise again. It was because it was the most obscure city I could think of.
Just sort of tucked away up here.
Well, it was
not super Pacific Northwest, but not totally Rocky Mountain. It's kind of halfway in between.
I really liked it. To me, as a Chicagoan, it was exotic.
Mhm.
So I had a good time. There wasn't a lot to do on Saturday. My choices seemed to be the new Madonna movie or a hypnotist at the Funny Bone Comedy Club.
The
So I
Funny
went to the
Bone.
hypnotist, yeah.
Roughly when was this?
97.
That would have been
So
Jay
15
Medicine Hat,
years ago.
that hypnotist.
Quite some
I
time
think
ago.
I've been in the business a while.
Oh, I
Our
wonder if
friend-
that's who it was.
Our friend
Yeah.
Gabriel is a
Gotcha.
stand-up
Yeah.
comedian, and when he's not
Oh, wow.
wowing,
Yeah.
wowing our listeners.
And I'm not a hypnotist because I don't own one of those flashy colored lights from Spencer's Gifts. But one day,
What's the comedy club here in town then?
right now it's called Liquid Laughs. We've been through a few cycles. The old Funny Bone kind of went the wayside, and then we had
Yeah.
one here for a while called the Hijinks. And its 1-year mission to successfully make everyone laugh a little bit worked out. And now we've moved on to Liquid Laughs, where we have National Comics Weekly.
Located in the same location
And
as the former.
I do
comedy
poetry in my show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, people love my silly poems. I would love to get your professional opinion on one.
Yeah, you gonna do one?
Sure. They're usually pretty spicy, so I'm changing some of the verbiage for
Okay,
community
yeah.
radio. This one's called Bob Saget Gets More Lady Parts Than Me. Riddled with self-doubt, he threw himself from the folds of safety. Poised on only 2 toes, a warm summer wind rising from a vent moved his silken butt hairs like exotic seagrass. Doubling over in naked convulsion, a corncob shot from the glory hole and onto the cold concrete floor. "Chew your food," I screamed, and flew away on wings of stardust.
Wings of Stardust. Oh, that's awesome.
It's a little ridiculous.
Yeah, I know.
but,
It's great.
Thanks.
Oh,
See, the pros
I
like my
would-
stuff.
yeah.
When you were
Yeah.
here in '97, did you choose the Madonna movie or did you choose the?
No, I went to
Hypnotist?
the hypnotist.
Uh-huh.
And I still don't know how they got guys to act like Elvis and Michael Jackson. You know, I don't know if it's all pre-planned or what the trick is, but I was
makes you-
entertained.
Makes you wonder if it's genuine, because people I think will play along there's nothing more commonplace than the desire to be exceptional, and I think at a hypnotism show that really shows.
Oh, yeah, that's a good explanation.
I'm full of them.
Yeah,
My secret, I told you.
Oatmeal.
Yeah.
It's a recurring theme on the program. Oatmeal.
Oatmeal to you, my good sir.
The oatmeal.
Oatmeal!
We were talking a minute ago before we came on, and you mentioned you had a multiple part piece.
I wanted to try this. I finally got started on this tour because I've read For All the Elephant Six guys, and Jeff Mangum, who's the Neutral Milk Hotel guy, was doing all these shows in these nice theaters out east. And the first one was in the Schubert Theater in New Haven, Connecticut, which I'm an old movie buff, so the Schubert Theater means a lot.
Historically.
Yeah. So I wound up doing 7 of the shows, and I did 7 poems, and I was hoping that somehow they would work as one poem in 7 parts.
Okay.
So I thought I would just read them,
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah,
Love
please.
All right, I'll just do it, see what you think. Jeff Mangum. It becomes a ritual without you even asking, as your excuse me bounces from mannequin to mannequin. A cue full coming to life against your astonished will, murmuring over your subpoena for attention, as far as you know the first they'd ever received, laughingly conferencing how to please you as you step into the white-hot nave, billowing with excitement, since it won't know any more than you will what you'll be. Jeff Mangum, number 2. Crashes all around. The Adams, giddy with their Christmas bonus party, long tossing off their corset centuries, like drunk secretaries too busy, forgetting there was ever a time to bid screw itself, to realize what new mommy and daddy starting to tickle them to sleep each night, although they cavalierly assume they'll enjoy it just as much when these crash too. Okay, I'll just continue. Oatmeal. Jeff Mangum, number 3. It's hard to tell sometimes if the amethyst's hard shine comes from souls clamoring to get out, or their golden laughter at those ultraviolet sighs waiting for an opening. At this point, some ancient smartass is sure to roll up with a story how the amethyst is a wading pool for souls who've gone into sharp purple shock, trying to recustomize to bliss too quickly. And Jeff Mangum, number 4. The fences wear down faster than sheep can re-knit 'em from stray jumps pulled from every corner of last month's world cozy. Eventually the sheep give up, accepting the fact that the living and the dead are going to be good friends from now on, though the question still hangs where to put the fences that shall never be built. Forgive me.
It's all good. This is great.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Jeff Mangum, number 5. Rushing down to the only point in the universe, you don't have time to grab any other only points in the universe on the way, but there's a reason for that. To your dismay and excitement, you discover when you're the only point, you're every other only point, and will explode into most of them before this is through, though hopefully not your mother, since you'd rather not feel how hard she tried not to wish you were someone else too viscerally. Oh, thanks. Jeff Mangum, number 6. Having trained clouds to avoid your feet, you let them do all the work. Their gentle excuse me's providing exhilarating travelogues to those below as well as yourself, though you do have to do some actual traveling to turn the illusions on. It's the sun having the most fun dodging the transparencies launched above the clouds as each illusion is unwrapped gaily. Whee! Playing blind man's bluff all the way down to the actual path you're trotting.
Yeah. I like the poem with "we" in it.
The last one was the night Whitney Houston died.
Recent.
Yeah. Anyway, Jeff Mangum, number 7. The nerves, too sensitive as it is, go on strike against being messengers, idealizing. They throb for their own sake like self-playing, I know, harps thrummed by fat thumbs raised for the purpose on plantations strung together by the more proactive nerves, wondering why they put up with silly human bodies for so long, hoping pain under house arrest with no roads available for travel will give up.
Nice, wonderful.
Thank
Oh,
you.
cool, thanks.
It's a 7-part series. Would you say it's written for him or
Well, I mean, they're inspired by
inspired
the music.
by the music?
But it seemed like, you know, I don't know if they work together as a 7-part thing or not.
I like
I'd like to think they are, but I'm not sure.
I like it. I mean, but as listeners of this program will will testify. Like, I tend to like some kind of obtuse jumps in
Yeah.
subject matter, so it didn't seem to bother me at all. I enjoyed it immensely. Thank you very much for sharing it.
Oh, yeah.
Where were you before Boise?
Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City, and where do you head from here?
I'm going to go to Portland. I've never been to the rest of the Northwest.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow.
So Portland, Olympia, and Seattle. I'm on day 52 of a 60-day Greyhound bus pass tour.
Nice. The Greyhound
The whole
bus.
country, yeah.
That's a poem in itself, I'll bet. There's got to be one there somewhere.
Well, there's loads of trash, that's for sure. But it's not as bad as it used to be because Greyhound stopped dealing with the prison system.
Ah.
So there aren't actual criminals on the bus anymore.
They have to get their own way home.
They're just plain ordinary trash.
Not known.
Non-convicted trash.
Yeah. Arrested, not convicted.
Put you at ease.
I did have a weird experience where this guy thought I was asleep, and he was confessing to things that left me wondering what I should do about it.
To your sleeping body, like, I've never told anyone this, sleeping man, like that?
No, he was talking to his girlfriend on the phone,
okay.
saying why he had to leave Denver so fast.
Oh, no.
And,
That's good stuff.
But I decided it was a little too vague to, like, actually report it.
Right.
And so...
But
he
I told
realized, yeah, see.
I've been telling him that public transportation is ripe with material no matter what you do, whether you're a musician, a poet, a comedian. Public transportation will open your eyes to the human
You say it's
condition.
ripe with material. I think it's just ripe.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Set them up and knocks them down. How long are you in town?
Just till tonight, I think. It's sort of a break on the way to Portland, thanks to Matt's generosity.
He's a good man.
I had trouble sleeping on the bus, so he's going to let me take a nap at his house.
Someone will sneak up and confess something to you.
Yeah.
You never know. No, it's mostly, you can tell that Greyhound, you know, I guess I'm a loser myself because I'm on Greyhound. But, well, the reason I did it was it's really cheap.
Mm-hmm.
A 30-day Greyhound pass is $456. A 60-day Greyhound pass is $556.
Wow.
So it's a really great deal.
It's very similar when you go to produce your own music. You get X amount for X $100, and then you basically can get like 5 times that much for only
40 cents more.
Yeah, so they make it you want to buy more always because it's such a good deal.
Same with
yeah.
popcorn in theaters. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a pattern here, Thomas.
Yes.
Buy one, get one freeze at the grocery store.
The BOGO.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Twice the Fig Newtons.
It's been awesome having you in. I wondered if you'd leave us with one more
Please.
of your own choice.
Yeah, I unfortunately I don't have any of the Built to Spill poems with me.
It's okay. You'll have to come back.
Doug will get over it.
Or maybe record them and send them to us. We would love it.
But
You're tuned into V3. This is Radio Boise, KRBX 89.9 FM. And we are joined in the studio by poet, traveler, Thax Douglas.
well, how many chances am I going to get? I actually read this at that Gem Mangum number 7. Oh, did I interrupt you?
No,
No.
you're good.
I wrote a memorial poem for Whitney Houston,
Nice.
which is because for some reason it upset me more than I realized when it happened. So I wrote a poem called Whitney Houston, 1963 to 2012. Kind of an electric toothbrush in your head that keeps your brain clean, but also reminds you won't be satisfied until it is. Any love song you sing is to the brush that whirs unimpressed, waiting for you to stop singing and start doing what you have to do. But you've got something over the brush. It has no idea what time is and doesn't have the patience for it. So you think maybe you can teach the brush to get used to time, spoonful by spoonful, like a knockaway baby fattening up. I hope you're right.
Nice. Like a knockaway baby. That's going to stick with me.
Thank you for joining us.
You can use that. Use that in one of your comedy poems. I would.
I
Really
promise.
appreciate.
It's gonna happen now.
Yeah.
Yay!
That'll end up written on a scrap of paper.
Co-authoring. Yeah, you think you're disorganized. Mine's a shoebox full of like cocktail napkins from 1978 and
It's
so on.
awesome.
Yeah. But
At least he has a shoebox. I just have a pile on my
a mound.
Of,
We all have our ways of
yeah.
keeping track of what we've written.
Well, you know, just buy some shoes and you're all set.
There you go.
Keep the box.
Yeah, throw away the shoes, keep the box. Thanks,
Sound advice from Thax.
thanks to
everyone.
Thax Douglas. If you're curious about his adventures or writing
Facebook is me. So if you want to be friends with me or whatever, or read my
And your
stupid
MySpace is
post-
just your name? That's how we
Thax
find you?
Douglas, yeah.
Poet and traveler Thax Douglas. It's Thax Douglas.
Douglas.
And for the record, would you state your full name? Because I think it's one of the best names I've ever heard.
Dexter Elliott Douglas III.
Nice. Yeah.
I love a good name.
Say
like
that and don't get respect at the bank.
Yeah,
That's not going to happen.
All right. Well, we appreciate it. Why don't you come see us again anytime you're in town?
I sure will.
And this just about wraps things up for us today on the V3. But we got a few more tunes for you, so stick around. Thanks for listening to and supporting
Thanks,
non-commercial
Thax.
radio.
Pleasure, sir.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for a special guest.